like to declare this meeting open for business. And with that, sir, call to order, and we're going to start this with a pledge of allegiance. Please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if my fellow Rick here will proceed, I would like to have a prayer, because you are so eloquent that you've become our spokesman to the divine authority. Sir.
Father God, we just lift up this meeting to you, Lord. We thank you for being present in our lives. We thank you for being present in the county. And, oh my goodness, we have so much to be thankful for right here at Queen Anne County. And we just welcome any one of our neighbors or tenants, just come up and say hi to us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. And with that, we're going to skip over the approval of the minutes for the...
Well, actually, you can do it because you have a quorum now.
Oh, I guess that's true. All right. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes?
And a second?
I second it.
Motion voted, granted. There you go. All right. Public comment. Do we have any?
Did you want to welcome our new board member and then also our...
Yeah, well, Roger...
first?
Sir?
Did you want to do the public comment, then welcome the new board member? And okay.
Yeah, do you... Go ahead, you do it.
It's
This thing. Oh, you mean the...
yeah.
Okay.
So there's the one to welcome Roger, and then there's the one that...
Okay.
Judy.
Super. So as it turns out, our new member, Mr. Roger Harrell, is going to miss his first meeting due to a previously scheduled trip. Mr. Harrell recently retired as Dorchester County's health officer after serving since 1997. He's been through routine operations and COVID pandemic and succeeded at all that. As a Queen Anne's County resident, he holds degrees from UNC Chapel Hill and the Medical College of Virginia, served in leadership roles with Macho, the Eastern Shore Area Health Education Center, and Rotary District 7630, and is now a member of the Queen Anne's County Local Management Board. Harold is widely recognized for his leadership and commitment to public service. We're pleased to welcome Roger to the board and look forward to seeing him at the next meeting. So with that, now we have with us our former member and the most commendable Miss Judy Kropfelter, lurking back there, but recognized and appreciated. She was unable to make it to the last meeting where we presented a plaque.
But she has, so we can get a picture with her after this.
You were given this honorarium, I think. So we are going to acknowledge this appreciation this evening. We'd like to begin by recognizing her, whose term began in July 2020 and extended through November 2023. During that time, Judy served as chairperson in 2023, as vice chairperson for 2 years, beginning in December 2021 and continuing through the conclusion of her board service in November of 23. Throughout her tenure, Judy demonstrated a strong and unwavering commitment to transparency, accountability, and ensuring that funding and property decisions were handled in an orderly and responsible manner. She was a steady and reliable force during unpredictable times, and her dedication and passion left a lasting mark on the Housing Authority. We'd like to express our gratitude and present this award in recognition of Judy's outstanding service, leadership, and unwavering support for our mission. Well, I'd like to add to that, during perilous times when we were having difficulties with getting our ship sailing in the correct direction. I had no better friend and ally than Ms. Kropfelder, to whom I owe great thanks and appreciation. So really, our heartfelt gratitude and commendation to you, ma'am. Much appreciated.
Any chance I can get a picture of the three of you, Commissioner and Judy? We're holding their plaque?
Sure.
You okay?
Us too?
You're in the middle.
You're the important one. All right, got it. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
So,
Nobody's requested for public comment.
yeah, we're now going to proceed to public comment. Is there anyone listed?
There is not.
So that, we will open and close metaphorically, and we're going to proceed to the executive director's report to the board. Sir?
Okay, so in your packet, you'll see that we've got the Ever-Titan report to the board for just the property management and housing choice vouchers. In that report, you'll note that most of our occupancy is right around or above 90%, other than Fisher Manor, where we have a lot of rehabilitations going on. In regards to, as you roll through those reports, you can see our vacancies there. The most vacancies are at Terrapin Grove with 9, and then we have 4 at some and 1 at others. Our after-hours calls, which we appreciate, are mostly trending down, which I think is, we'll find out more, but I think that's a lot because of our maintenance team has been keeping things in order, so things aren't breaking down. They're being more prepared. Our total work orders have gone down, as have the outstanding work orders, so we'll talk more about that. We have had to take folks to court, but we have had no evictions within the last 12 months. And you can see there our units ready for occupancy as of the end of October. We had about 7, 8, 9 units ready there. Our most work orders, as you can tell, are right around Terrapin Grove, are in Terrapin Grove, with a decent amount right now in Fisher Manor also. You can see that in October, we had 3 late runs, but I can tell you that that number is going to go way up for November because it's rent collection time, and we had several that haven't come in.
So describe that in the following sense of they're going to go way up. What do you mean?
In other words, we know that because we've collected the rent and right around the 8th or the 9th of the month, which I believe or the 10th of the month, we look at who's not sent their rents in for the month, and that number is higher than it was last month. So the next steps are we have to let them know, we have to get them so much time, and then we start the court process after that. Often by the time it gets to the court process or the total eviction, the rent is typically been covered. They typically have it paid by then, but it still requires us to go through a pretty intense and lengthy process within the courts.
What mediation is there in case of financial indigence?
So and this is where our partnership with the county is becoming even stronger, because now we have the homeless and the rental assistance for folks that are behind in their rent. They can reach out to our county housing office, and oftentimes if they qualify income-wise, and this hasn't been an issue, a lot of times they can receive assistance from the county housing office. They can also, and that person, Cindy Boone, is in tight with a lot of the church groups and a lot of the other pantries and things, and they can often help with rent too. So, and that's not, and this person helps not just with our developments, folks in our development, but across the county. We help folks. Right up until it was with the times we were getting way low in that money, and it just turns out, hey there, it just turns out that that he's going to that the funds for that have just come through. So we're very excited about that. Thanks so much for coming. So we got you right there. Housing choice vouchers, we're running right around administering 166 housing choice vouchers. We've had about 130 total cumulative inspections as of October for the year. And our project-based voucher waiting list just went up by 130 because we opened that wait list up. And then we have 8 veterans vouchers that are all filled and active. And that's about the overview of the report there. One issue that we have come across, as we've mentioned and you guys have heard in this group, we have really tightened up our facilities. We've tightened up, there's no comments. We've tightened up the way we've gotten feedback from folks. Our work order process. We've even tightened up our housing choice vouchers and made that stronger. But as we do that, we've come across other issues. We've started working on our filing system. We've started working on those types of things. We've got our finances, a financial auditor that's very tight and strong. And we're starting to find some things, and most recently found where we have been using an income limit of 80% for folks of 80% of median income, where we should have been using, potentially we're concerned, but we should have been using about 50%, like letting folks in on 50%. We're not exactly sure where that income limit change happened, but we're still researching it. We're trying to find out how many people that affects, and then we're going to be in touch with Department of Housing Community Development to find out what steps we can take to fix and remedy that issue. But that's something we're working on right now, is that we should have been accepting people no higher than 50% of median income, and since before this group took over, we've been doing it at a rate of 80%. So we have to, now it doesn't affect a lot of our folks because they came in under the correct income anyway, but it will affect some, and we'll have to figure out what we can do about it.
What number are you using for median income?
So 80%.
Is that income per person or income per household?
It's typically the number of people in the household. So for example, go ahead.
That didn't answer the question. I said, is it by household or by individual?
It's by the number of people in the household, their total income. So if you and I lived together, we would add our income together, and then they would.
So do you know what number they used?
So it depends on the family. So in other words, we use, like if they're a family of 3 right now and you're under 50% median income, you're about $58,000 for a family of 3. And at 80% median income, a family of 3 would be about $94,000. Those would be the numbers we use.
Because I think that the median income for the county per household is $120,000.
That's right, but it varies. The number that HUD requires you to use changes on the number of people that you have in the household. So they have that median income, you're right, and then we are only going 80% of it and 50% of it.
Yeah.
So that's an issue we have to work on, and we will be working on. In regards to development, we're starting and continuing efforts to improve overall safety and well-being of our tenants. We're working on issues related to tenant and guest behavior right now. Unfortunately, we're having to look at that. We've put out no trespass orders have been issued against individuals who are not permitted on our property, and tenants who are being informed to ensure these instructions are upheld. We've got some lease violations are being issued as needed to address disturbances and non-compliance with lease terms, and we continue to communicate our expectations. But we've had a couple fights at a couple of our developments, and those are not going to be tolerated. We've got a communication notification system. The Everbridge notification system is now fully set up and operational, thanks to the folks out at Emergency Services that allow us to use that. This system allows us to send electronic notices and reminders and updates to our tenants through text messages, email, and phone calls. We still do hand-delivered notices like we did in the past for folks that prefer that, but that's available. In regards to tenant communication, tenant and community engagement, we continue to maintain consistent communication with tenants and provide on-site support. Our feedback from most of our tenants has been very positive, particularly regarding improved property conditions and responsiveness to maintenance and safety concerns. We're steadily working through our wait list, processing new applications to move new tenants into our available units. We've got multiple units now completed and ready to be moved in, so we're working to fill those out. Now, in regards to, and I want to check with the board, for the board retreat for fiscal year 2026, you might recall we had a board retreat last year, and as I was looking over some of the goals that we set up and that were handed to me and that we developed prior to the county taking over, there was a lot of work we had set. And looking over, though, we've achieved a lot of them. There's still work to do, but we've achieved a lot of those goals or made significant progress towards them. So I would like to propose, if you guys are okay with it, that we go for and have another board retreat in January. We would pick dates that work for everybody involved, and it would be a day-long retreat where we could plan about where we want to go and how we want to continue to move the housing authority more away from just rehabilitating our housing authority to optimizing it, to making it one of the best in the country and definitely in the state. So I'd like to look at that, and then I'd also like, as part of the theme, to talk about what is our role in the affordable housing discussion in Queen Anne's County. There's a lot of people that are discussing affordable housing and looking at what can be done regarding affordable housing, what's eligible to be done, and what's our role in that. And I thought if we could kind of focus on that in an all-day or, a semi-part day in January. So I see a couple of head nods. Would you guys all be up for that?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the goal is to create more affordable housing,
Well, the goal would be to see.
unit-wise, than,
The goal in that particular, for the retreat would be to see what the role of the housing authority is in that discussion, is the way I was looking at it. So that's kind of what I was.
right now, we don't have quotas for housing types for getting a building permit.
Right.
Am I correct there?
That would be a question I'd have to ask planning and zoning and Amy, but I'm not sure if there's quotas about what types of houses and how many of each type of house are supposed to be.
That to me would be the only way it would ever happen,
Mhm.
is if you forced it, because builders aren't going to build low-income housing if they can help it.
Right.
So now the Slippery Hill, that's the name of it, yes? Across from the hospital?
Yes.
Are there any other developments like that going up? I mean, and if so, can we get a larger share of the applicants?
So I'm not aware of any of those tax incentive developments like Slippery Hills that are currently in the works. What I do say is that even market rate apartments now with the county's moderately priced dwelling unit rules is that we're supposed to get one apartment out of every 10 that is for affordable housing and that people will qualify. It tends to be for the young professional that go into those, but for every new kind of even market rate apartment buildings that you see go up, that there are 1 in 10 of those apartments are required to be affordable and have people that qualify at a certain income level to get into them.
Who monitors that? Is that, do they monitor that for us? Or-
So, well, the county housing office has a person that monitors that. They qualify the person. So you qualify a person at their rate to say, okay, they are at the right income rate. They're below 80%. It's 80% median income for that particular one. And then we certify them out of the county housing office, and then they take that certification over and apply at the actual apartment building. Now, the apartment building owners, they get final say on if the person's going to get in there or not. They have to fill it with someone that's been qualified through an MPDU, but they do not have to take everyone who has been qualified because they still have to make sure they meet the different standards that they set in their apartments.
Is there a way to make sure the community is more aware of these advantages to them And I know we have a website that lists a lot of properties. And
Yes.
how up-to-date is that website with that information?
That website is, it's new, so we've been keeping it pretty up to date, pretty regular. As far as the MPDUs, people can call anytime, get on the list, and then when an opening opens, we can put them forth for it. So, yeah, I mean, the one thing about marketing especially with MPDU is it can get to the point where you have so many, but you don't have enough spaces that sometimes it can get a little frustrating if you market something too heavily and then you don't have the space for it. But we do try to get it out there pretty well.
I would point out that I share with Commissioner McLaughlin, who's sitting back there, a keen concern about the welfare of the county budget, and that affordable housing, what we are doing here is creating this is affordable housing and the housing authority. The creation of, in the private sector, affordable housing is a thing fraught with complication beyond understanding to me, because you wind up in a county having to balance how much the public can spend on. If we were to spend more on creating that generosity to people, would it not better go into the housing authority than a housing affordability program?
Right.
You know, I don't know, but it's the discussion of the financial implications of it. It shouldn't just be an ideal discussion about whether it's useful. It is. There's no doubt about that. But how much a county can afford, and when it affords it, whether it ought to go into this or whether it ought to go into housing itself, is a totally different issue, which should be part of the game.
And we can work, I mean, and going back to the retreat, we can work that discussion into the retreat if you guys are willing. And again, this is like the answer Mike Arntz's thing is not specifically coming up with strategies for it. Let's just see what our role is in affordable housing as part of it. And then that would be like kind of the second half, and the first half would be how do we optimize what we're already doing? We got some momentum now. How do we optimize it? And where do we want to focus?
Now, in terms of the retreat, I know the last one we had, there were a lot of ideas and thoughts that came of it. Do we have a synopsis of those ideas and thoughts that we can discuss?
We do. You could facilitate the retreat with that kind of, yeah, we do. So the idea would be we'd also look and see what progress we've made since the last retreat also. Yes.
Because I see a lot of good things going on, and one of them is the green striper at about Terrapin. We have 5 units that are ready for occupancy now, that are not let out.
We've got 3 right now. We've had 2 in the past 2 weeks.
Yep, that was the end of October, so we're actually filling some of those spaces since between now and when that data came through. Yeah.
But that's going to open things up a little bit. Is the turnover at Terrapin increasing, staying the same, or what's the thinking there?
We had some mortality.
Yes.
We had some
Yeah,
deaths,
we had-
didn't we?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also had some transfers for various reasons, and that creates extra work for Brian because we're just creating another apartment that has to be brought back up, renovated.
Yeah.
So without kind of the data of us showing, bringing down the amount of vacancies we have.
Have we been able to shrink the waiting period at all?
The waiting period, yes. The wait list is just as high as it always has been.
It's not reduced.
Yeah, if you look at, like, our wait list is gone, and and part of it has to do with the places are getting even better.
Yeah,
So,
if the waiting list is long,
Yeah.
that's okay, but
Yeah.
if the waiting period, there were people waiting, 2 years.
Unfortunately, if you get on the wait list, that's
years?
still a very real possibility. Yes. It's not, but I don't think it's necessarily, we could always speed up the process. We turn a unit over.
And
But-
I think even the waiting list is not an accurate measure, because if we'd emptied it 500 more people would show up.
That's exactly
The
right.
only reason people aren't on it is because it's so long. So,
Would we audit those who are on it for a long time and ask them to, step aside,
you
or?
clean it once
Yeah,
a
what's that, you have a word for it. We purge it, which
Just once a year.
we purge it once a year. Thank you. Kenya over there does our waiting lists, so. Couple other things, we recently went through a CMAP review, which is a Section 8 Management and Assessment Program review. It's done by the Department of HUD, or it's done by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is HUD, and it's a performance evaluation system for public housing authorities that administer housing choice vouchers, formerly known as Section 8. They measure 14 performance indicators. For fiscal year June 30th, our housing authority received a CMAP score of 79%, which resulted in an overall overall performance rating of standard. A couple of places that we had to work on was HQS quality patrol. Procedures are now in place for requiring the executive director or designated supervisor to reinspect HUD, a required sample number of units that are inspected. Enforcement. Staff have been retrained on enforcement timelines to ensure life-threatening deficiencies are corrected within 24 hours. We're working on that. Indicator 7, we were scored a little low, expanding housing opportunities. We've strengthened partnerships with our local organizations such as Business Tourism, Local Management Board, the Housing Office, amongst others, just to improve access to the housing and community. We're also having things like this board retreat in January to discuss issues like expanding housing opportunities. And then lastly, we kind of took a hit in our score because of something called Family Self-Sufficiency, which is a program that stopped when the housing authority left the county. So we're currently exploring ways to bring that back, but in the meantime, we're also working with HUD so we don't get scored, it doesn't get scored against us that we don't have it. So we're working on that, and we had to send in a plan about how we're going to do it, and we sent that plan in. We are having discussions about this, but HUD is part of the government shutdown, so we haven't heard back in about a month on that. Getting back to the Affordable Housing Committee discussion, I just want to kind of mention that it's a very hot topic in Queen Anne's County, and I've been called in on a lot of stuff, and the topic's been part of ongoing conversations with you all. You bring it all up very often. The Local Management Board, which focuses on children and families, has made affordable housing one of their key priority areas. The county's Division of Housing, on the county side, we have plans. We work specifically with that issue through many of our programs to address it. And then most recently, the county's Office of Business and Tourism is very active in it. So again, I think it'll be a good idea to have this discussion to see, is there a way to pull all of these groups together to work together to figure out some synergies so that, that we can figure out what can happen in Queen Anne's County, what's reliable, what's with the current situation we're in. Let's take that into account and see how we can make this work. So I'm hoping we can have that kind of discussion at our board retreat too. How can we pull these folks in as partners and see if we can develop some partnerships there, and then maybe each of us takes a priority area and focuses on it and then reconvene to see how it's going. I mentioned that we've recently experienced some disturbances, including fights at more than one of our housing communities. We've been working closely with the Sheriff's Office and our property manager, and we've identified several of the individuals involved and issued them no trespassing orders. We've alerted our residents and notified them that these individuals are no longer permitted on the properties, and that if they are seen, our office or the Sheriff's Office should be contacted immediately so authorities can respond. We've sent out flyers, and Everbridge alerts are being distributed to ensure residents are aware and can help maintain safety. Residents are reminded, and we have reminded them, that allowing anyone on the no trespassing list to visit or to stay in their home could result in a lease violation and could lead to an eviction for them also. Our staff is working really hard to make it clear in these developments that people live there. It's their homes, and children play there, and everyone deserves to feel safe there. So fighting and other illegal behavior is, from at least my perspective, is just not going to be tolerated, and we're going to do whatever we can with available legal means to prevent this kind of violence and make sure it stays peaceful. We want to support the communities so that residents can feel safe, respected, and proud there. So that's where we're working on that. So, you know, we've got great environments, got great residents, and we've got a couple of bad eggs that are fighting and some folks coming from other places, and needs to stop. On a positive, more positive note, Terrapin Grove was recognized as the best independent living community. So the Queen Anne's County Housing Authority got to announce that we received an award for the best independent living community at the annual Shore Update, Good, Better, Best. And several of you all went to the event. So I appreciate you doing that and accepted our award, and we've got a certificate up on the wall. That's pretty cool because I don't even think we knew that folks were voting for us. We didn't go out and try to get it. We just got the award, and I'd like to thank all the staff. I'd like to thank the board for making that happen. The county commissioners have been incredibly supportive of us, and this is just kind of, and also the residents out there at all our developments that are, they take their developments and where they live very seriously, and they've made it a nice place. So I just thought I'd end my director's report on that happy note. So.
Well, I think it's partly the administrative effort and partly our maintenance, excellent maintenance.
I would agree
operation.
wholeheartedly. And we're going to get a full discussion about what's going on with maintenance here as the grand finale for tonight's meeting, if you're so inclined.
All right. So we are now at, what do you want to hit next, Mike?
Old business, number 5, I believe.
Housing choice voucher.
So we've talked in past board meetings that there's been a shortfall, and it's just, we're not the only housing authority that's happened. With increased rents, the amount of money that we have to provide for rental assistance through the Housing Choice Voucher Program is less and less. And if we were to continue at the rate we were going, we would not have enough money to cover our Housing Choice Vouchers that we currently have. We continue to manage about 214 vouchers, including 179 traditional vouchers, 14 project-based vouchers, and a few other specialized vouchers for veterans and foster youth, et cetera. And we remain steady with that number. Because of the ongoing federal shutdown, the shortfall prevention team, we haven't been able to meet monthly with HUD like we normally do. Even so, HUD has continued to provide funding through October and indicated that they expect to have the money through November and possibly through December now. And that's good news for now. I think if the shutdown continues, though, we could be in some tough shape with that. So that's where we are with that. I've also been joining some regular calls hosted by the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials, and they've been really helpful providing updates in regards to this. So right now, all of our Housing Choice Voucher payments are on time, and we're keeping the program running smoothly. We're watching our funding levels closely to make sure we stay compliant with HUD requirements and keep assisting families without interruption. On the financial side, we've got a new auditing firm that actually has experience with housing authorities, Clifton Larson Allen, and a new fee accountant, Trish Harthausen, and they've been digging into and doing a full review of our Housing Choice Voucher system and other program financial activities. It's meant some extra work for us and getting them all the information they need. But while it's a lot of work, it's also nice to know that somebody's really, really monitoring us and watching the shop. And I just think that's a good check on us. It's what we need. It's what's supposed to be happening. So it just feels good to know that they're taking a deep dive into everything and preparing the audit. So even though the shutdown's providing some uncertainty, we seem to be in a solid position and continuing to move forward with our Housing Choice Voucher payments. We've received funding for the shortfall, so we seem to be going pretty well with that. The other old piece of business was the project-based vouchers at Slippery Hill. And if you recall, project-based vouchers for Slippery Hill are specific units that they assign to us. And we had a hiccup where they were given, the wrong group was putting in there, so we had to transfer groups of people out. And now we are in the process of filling those 14. We had to open up our wait list, which we did on October 29th. The response was strong. By 3 p.m. that day, we had already received 81 applications. And when it was closed on November 4th at 11:59, we had 166 applications in total. We still need to review those applications. But this initial turnout is an effort that we'll be able to fill those spots. And our goal is to fill them by January, by the end of December. At this point, we've got 6 of the 14 units filled and 8 more remaining. The goal is to identify and place eligible households in all units, again, before January 1st. Meeting this target is going to take a lot of coordination, both with the tenant transitions, making sure the units are ready over at Slippery Hill, because many of the current units where we want to move folks in are still occupied, so the process depends on both facilitating moves for residents transitioning out and ensuring Slippery Hill management can prepare the units for turnover as fast as we can get our folks ready. I know our staff, Hassani and Kenya and many others, are working with referred clients to gather documentation. And then we're also working with the Slippery Hill staff because they've also got documentation. So those two we're working out so they can work together, sometimes at the exact same table with the tenant. So that seems to be helping the process. Just as a reminder, project-based vouchers, which is what they are, differ from traditional tenant-based vouchers. There's subsidy attached to the unit itself. So when the person moves out, they don't get to take that subsidy with them. It's provided to the next person that moves into that unit. So that's kind of where we are there. We've got a lot more to do, but HUD has been helping us a lot, although clearly I haven't been around as much lately. And I think we're making a good job of transferring that over. So those are the 2 items on old business. We're just giving you an update on the housing choice vouchers and the shortfall and where we are with the project-based vouchers at Slippery Hill.
All right, sir. Concluding that, we go to new business.
We've applied for, again, with what's going on with the federal, things got a little bit difficult, but we found out that the Community Development Block Grant, which is something that our office has done a lot with, came up, and we were able to quickly put together a grant with Brian Barnshaw Jr., not the one in the room, but the one that happens to be the son of 2 people in this room, put together an application for us to apply for paving the driveways at Fisher Manor and Riverside apartment complexes. So those, if you drive through there, you start to look at those places are looking really good. And I think that the pavement will actually add a nice little tie to that. We're also working on, which Brian might talk about, the porches at Fisher Manor, and when that's done, they'll look really good from the outside. So that's one thing we're working on. Bay Area Association of Realtors Partnership. We had a brunch and learn. Staff from the Queen Anne's County Housing Authority, the County Housing Office recently partnered with the Bay Area Association of Realtors to host a brunch and learn event at Kramer Center in Centerville. The session brought together local landlords, realtors, and the idea was to learn about housing programs in Queen Anne's County and explore ways to strengthen partnerships within the county. The presentation, which included understanding the HUD Housing Choice Voucher System and housing programs in Queen Anne's County, was conducted. I got to MC it, and we had our fabulous staff of Hassani, Kelly Huber, Cindy Boone. It was supported by Kenya, Denise Weiland, and Lisa Gray. And then Brian Jr. and Terry were also there to help with that. And that was very well received to the point where they asked us to come back, I believe, in February for another big real estate thing. And we'll be presenting on that also there. So that was really a good event and something we've been wanting to do for a while. And then the last thing I just want to mention is that many of you know that Kathy Willis, the director of the Department of Community Services, announced her retirement, and she will be retiring in December, and we're going to miss her greatly. I know I will. She's been wonderful to work with and has provided a lot of great guidance. But with that, the commissioners decided to take what was traditionally all the parts, all the components of that department and break them up into 2 different departments. One's going to be the Department of Aging and Transportation, and then the other is going to be the Department of Housing and Community Services. And that is where the Housing Authority falls into that department. And the commissioners appointed me as the executive director of that department. So that's actually already a department, and we're currently in the process of transitioning. It doesn't, my roles and responsibilities don't feel that much different in that I've still got the same purview I had before the new department. It's just that I'm doing it within my own department instead of divisions within it. So that happened early in October, and so that's where that is. And then lastly, for the new business, I'll invite Brian up, if you don't mind coming on up. He's going to give us an overview of where we are with the property updates. Thanks, Brian.
Mr. Barnshaw, good afternoon.
So I was just going to go over pretty quickly, just give you guys some updates and talk to you a little bit about some preventive maintenance inspections we've been doing and let you know about some projects we've got going on right now. So I'm going to start it with a little over a year ago in October, we started preventive maintenance inspections on all of our properties. And it's different things, smoke detectors, cleaning, replacing filters, checking for any damage, and just kind of checking to make sure that the homes, apartments are kept the way that we'd like them to be kept. So, for instance, last October, we started at Graysonville Terrace, and so we've only got 38 units at Graysonville Terrace. Our first set of preventive maintenance inspections generated 126 work orders. Exactly a year later, so just last month, the same inspections generated only 43 work orders. So it's just a result of follow-up repairs and constant maintenance all year long, and keeping up with them. And the tenants are comfortable with calling and letting us know everything that needs to be handled. So
Historically, what has the maintenance schedule intervals been in the past, or is this something that's new because of the housing authority?
What, before the county took over?
Yeah.
So we got different reports from different tenants. Some tenants said they hadn't seen an inspection for 6 years, 5 years, something like that, which is the reason our numbers were so high for the first set of inspections.
And your goal is how often going forward?
What did we start out? We started
wanna
out
do-
quarterly.
But now we're going to do 2 a year, I
Yeah,
think.
we're
2
trying
at
to
each
do 2 a
development.
year. Like I said, with Graysonville, we were able to do 1 in October and 1 in the following October. So we're try to get it all to at least 1 a year, and then slowly we can tighten it up a little bit and try to do 2 a year.
And intermingled with our own maintenance prevention inspections, there's the state will often come out, and our funders will come out and conduct their own inspections. So we have various ones that get mixed in also.
But it helps too with a lot of tenants. So when we're in there doing the inspections, asking them what they need, a lot of people won't call them in, or they won't send an email that they have a work order or something they need taken care of. So if you talk to them face to face, it kind of makes it easier. And it helps us too. That way, if there's a leak that somebody maybe doesn't notice, we go into every single room, we check the faucets, we check the toilet, we smoke detectors, filters, just wear and tear, normal kind of stuff. It just helps us.
Do you get much resistance from tenants?
No, most of them are tickled with it.
Smokers, the ones that aren't supposed to be smoking and know we'll smell it when we go in there, they're not really keen on us going in.
Now, is there a correlation between the inspections and the work orders? Do they increase or decrease?
I'm sorry, I can't.
When a home is inspected, do the work orders increase or decrease with the bond?
No, they increase. They definitely
Oh,
increase.
after they run through, they have a stack of work orders.
Yeah, so like I'll give you the stats to the different places, and what I was going to do is go through each property, give you the number of work orders we've done, and what the remodels we've done also. So stop me at any time if you guys have any questions. But I'll start at Foxtown. So at Foxtown, we renovated 5 vacant units, which Foxtown's newer building, so it's easy. New flooring, paint, some new appliances, they all get blinds. And we completed 200 work orders just at that complex this year. And we've only got one project going on, and that's a raised garden bed that Mr. Wilson donated. We're getting soil transferred over, so we don't really have a whole lot that goes on at Foxtown. It stays kind of quiet there. Moved down to Fisher Manor. This year, or in the past year, we've rehabbed 8 units, and that's been new flooring, full interior painting, all new appliances, same thing, new blinds. A lot of those units required new subflooring, new floor joists, different things, rot, settlement. So that they're a big project at Fisher Manor. And then in total, we've completed 300 work orders at Fisher Manor. Most recently, we replaced the fence that's been falling down. There was an old wooden fence. I'm sure if you guys have been there, you've seen it. It kind of stood out. It was an eyesore. We just had it replaced with a white vinyl fence. It made all the difference in the world. Like Mike said, if we get the parking lot done, it'll add to it. Very last thing there that we're still working on is the front and the back porches. So we're still working with an engineering firm to finalize the construction documents. And then once that gets done, then it gets moved on to a bidding process, which we're hoping that by next summer that we can get
What's
started.
held that up? Because, I mean, we started looking at that a year ago, and
It's been more
I mean,
than a year.
these are
Yes, it
not
is.
Keep making-
complicated.
Keep making, well, it is, we keep making changes. And like I said, we're waiting on RAI to finally get back with us. I don't know, it's been over a year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's well, part of it, we're not engineers, but it's not as simple as just a typical porch on the front of the house. They're built on pilings. That plays a part in the porches and the structure of it, and it's just to rebuild those and to find out where the weight is bearing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, on this stuff, but it seems to be like, and then the fact that every porch, they're not all standard sizes, so that creates an issue. And I also believe there's the second floors come over top of those porches, so that adds a whole nother issue to it, as far as engineering, design, and things like that. So, and then the first time they went out, they found out that there was weight on poles that they didn't think there was weight on, and so that requires a lot more work than.
Are the floors in the units stabilized now?
Most of them. We're working on the last few that the units were in bad shape, but yeah, most of them are fine. All the ones we've been through, the numbers I just gave you, most of those have been floor joists, a lot of them. And a lot of it wasn't rot, it's just
Yeah.
sagging, for years and years. And then repairs that were never really done correctly. They would just kind of go in and patch it up, just put more layers of flooring rather than repairing it correctly like they're doing now.
Can they just jack them up, or do they have to pull the hole?
Some of them they're jacking up, and some of them they have to replace or sister
Right.
the floor joists to
Do
strengthen it
do you
up.
have to relocate people in order to do some of this
Yes.
work?
Yes. So that's another thing that adds to the numbers, because we get one done, it takes months to get it completed, and then once it's completed, we transfer a tenant into that unit, so then you just have another empty unit again that you have to start all over with. That's why Fisher Manor's taken us so long. We've had outside vendors at Fisher since, well, it's been over a year and a half, just constantly working on unit after unit after unit, because it was definitely the worst unit that we had, the worst complex that we had.
But on the average, I look at the vacancies by facility. What's the average turn from taking a apartment that's now vacated to make it ready to move in? I mean, is it a month? Is it 2 months?
It's usually 2 to 3 months.
2 or 3 months? Okay.
Yes. And really,
Fisher.
yes, at Fisher, and usually it doesn't take that long. It's just the crews that we have, we're bouncing them around to different complexes, to different apartments.
But it seems that like the number for each facility is pretty much stagnant, Terrapin is up in the 7, 8s, 9s, and the other ones are down in the 4 and 5s. Is that just because people have the Terrapin longer, and there's more to do when someone moves out?
So in Terrapin, So Terrapin, Foxtown, most of those complexes, a lot of it's my crew. So my two techs, Shenard and Melissa, they'll go in and do a lot of that kind of stuff. And then we'll have an outside vendor to do the paint work, to do the flooring. The numbers there stay the same, like we talked about a little while ago, because of transfers a lot of time. So we'll get one done and then we transfer somebody into it. So we still have the same amount of vacants.
Right,
It's-
yeah.
It just.
The numbers stay the
numbers
same.
Yeah, numbers seem to stay the same. I'll move on to Riverside. So, we're going to Graysonville Terrace. So, Graysonville, we renovated 5 vacant units, which included new flooring, full interior painting, and new appliances. The ones at Graysonville aren't as tough, concrete floor, concrete foundation, so we don't have any of the settlement or any of those kind of issues. In total there, we've completed 240 work orders. We don't have anything else going on in Graysonville at the moment. In the future, we're looking at getting all the roofs replaced because they all need roofing there. And that's something that Mike and I just talked about recently. We've got to get started on that.
It's one of the things one of the things we improved on is we have a capital plan, and we've kind of got a 5 to 6 year capital plan of projects for all the various developments. And that's another thing, as we move along, we tighten that up, so we know more specifically what needs to happen, but the roofs there are definitely on the list. I think the current year, we're supposed to be looking at putting together what it's gonna cost to do it, and then next year, actually do them.
We'll move on to Riverside. So Riverside, not as big of a complex, but we've completed 3 full unit renovations. And that's new flooring, full interior paint work, same thing, updated bathrooms, new appliances. These are a lot like Riverside as far as the joists. These don't have a lot of rot issues, but settlement issues, uneven flooring, same thing, has to be jacked up. Cisterns, some have to be replaced. But like I said, we're only at 3 there, but we've completed 169 work orders at that property alone. A lot of the other apartments they've gotten smaller repairs, updated the bathrooms, new flooring, new paint work here and there, and that's about it at Riverside. Same thing, the only thing big we've had at Riverside, we just had the dumpsters and new enclosures put around the dumpsters, same thing, white vinyl fence, just kind of make it look a little bit better.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but Mr. McLaughlin has had his paw up.
I actually had a friend at Fisher Manor. I was in their apartment. This is probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I'll tell you who I'm talking about later. I don't want to mention your name.
Commissioner, would you mind speaking to the mic so folks can?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
I don't have anything to say. I'm just giving a shout out to the county for taking this over. It's a big job, and these folks deserve to have their houses fixed up or their apartments fixed up and just live in decency. And then I went back in 2022, same thing, and then I went back for the library dedication. This is all Fisher Manor, and it's just good to see that the county is taking this on. So
Thank you. Have you seen any in the past
I
year?
have not.
Okay, you should come down and check out
Yeah,
some of the
but
ones.
the-
we just
It
nabbed
might
in.
be, I'll come down.
Sure, anytime, just let me know.
open, seriously.
But we went on that tour. How long ago was that? This past winter, yes?
Mhm.
I
Yes.
mean, those places are beautiful. I mean, they're very nice to live in. I mean, it looks very comfortable.
Oh, yeah, plus we just got the playground was done.
Yep,
this-
playground was
this
done,
past
thanks to
summer.
Park and Rec-
Makes a big
Recs.
difference.
So, yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay, so we'll move on to Terrapin. Terrapin, we stay very busy with work orders at Terrapin. This past year, we renovated 15 vacant units, which same thing, kind of simple there, new flooring, interior painting, some appliances, but we've completed 500 work orders just at Terrapin Grove alone. Biggest project we've had there in the past few months was the cottages. When I started, there was rot on the front of the cottages. They were old repairs that just had never been done properly. So we finally got that taken care of, new siding, new beams. It turned out really, really nice. So everybody's very happy with that. Same thing, put in raised garden bed that you donated there. They got a new TV in the community room. So last but not least, scattered sites. We've got 9 total scattered sites. 1 is vacant, all the rest are full. We're currently renovating a house in Church Hill. The roof's been done, the front and the back porch are finished. The house has been painted throughout. The only thing left to do there is the flooring. We've got another house in Church Hill that has been fully renovated, and it was rented out this year earlier. The other scattered sites have undergone preventive maintenance inspections and extensive repairs. Same thing, paintwork, floors, appliances, all this stuff that's just kind of been overlooked. And we've only got, like I said, that 1 scattered site, and we're reviewing it for renovation right now. So hopefully that's going to get started sooner than later. That's where we're at. And the team's doing a
Do
great
you
job.
have any problems that you haven't been able to address, or they're waiting for additional money from the county or anything like that that is on your wish list of things to do?
On my wish list is hopefully maybe next year, get another tech, because we're definitely short-staffed. A lot of our work goes to outside vendors, just because we don't really have, there's just not enough of us. A lot of our days are just, unlocking doors for outside vendors. We have pest control a couple times a month at different sites, which one of my techs has to go let the termite guy in, basically. So, yeah, hopefully we get another tech next year. That'd be a huge help.
Mr. McLaughlin addressed his remarks to you that a lot of stuff we wind up having to do could be done in-house a lot cheaper than using outside vendors, but due to the fact that there are a lot of constraints on hiring new people in the county, adding personnel, we're winding up using vendors that are considerably more expensive than if we added another person in-house. So the idea that you're creating a benefit or cutting expenses by not hiring is in fact an illusion. So just the thing you're hearing from the people on the street, how this works. That's how it works.
I would think that for bringing in a resident staffer as opposed to outsourcing, we could justify that very easily if there weren't any constraints on hiring somebody.
Yeah. It's just been part of the, I don't say the religion of the county, and not try to add too many people to the county workforce. But in this particular department, it's a more expensive, the idea is to try to keep government expenses down. But the fact is, in this case, it's adding to expense. And in this department, I think it should be reconsidered next year when we get the budget. They need another tech.
So right now, outside vendors, so for the big construction jobs, we've got 3 contractors we use for that. But there's certain things that we'll never be able to do in-house as far as the big projects. And most of your electrical work, we'll always have to have outside vendors for that. But at the moment, we have to get plumbers to come in. If my techs are too busy, they're both capable of doing plumbing, but we don't always have time to do it. So a lot of times we've got to call an outside vendor for that. Same thing with the painters. So we do a little bit of paint work, but a lot of times we send.
So if you're contracting out plumbing, will the plumber come on a Saturday or Sunday if there's a clog?
Yes, they will.
Would a in-house person do that?
If it's an emergency call, they will. Yeah.
Charles?
That's what we do now, so.
Michael, put the numbers together and
Okay, yep,
Mr. Wilson and I will sit and talk about it.
all right.
You will not find a more able representative than Mr. McLaughlin. Anyway,
That's all
is that
I've
it,
got.
sir?
That's all I've got.
You've done really, really well. Thank you.
Really nice.
Yeah,
Very good, very good.
We get nothing but good compliments, and the only way the public knows how we're doing is what you do. That's 100% of what we're doing, really, or 88% of it comes from you, so well done.
I've got a lot of help around me, so, like I said, my texts are great, so
Yeah,
it's working out.
But you guys have cut the tension out of the air.
yeah.
It's a nice feeling when you go places, hey,
I will say, it feels like, you just feel, when Brian walks through a parking lot, it's like, you just people converge on him. I don't know if it's a religious thing, but they are all running towards him at every parking lot, at every
Flies,
facility.
flies,
Fence has always been like that, so.
take a
my
bath
life.
once in a while. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
good job.
And so that's everything for the new business. We put a little swag bag together that we passed out at a recent event we were at, so please we got some swag from the Housing Authority there, so please enjoy that.
Good stuff.
Anything else?
That's all I have, unless you have something, so.
Anybody from the public have a remark or thought or reflection?
Judy, you remember things of past, yes?
Pardon me?
You remember the things of the
I
past.
remember lots of phone calls, but I probably don't want to know
Awesome.
after the meeting.
So, very good.
All right, then,
I think that is going to wind it up, and so unless somebody else has something to throw in, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So be it.